Good morning, Foundations of Education Technology. Welcome to our last week and a half of our course. We are now in Module 7, which is an important module because we're really focusing on the barriers. We're going to continue to focus on the barriers facing educators who are trying to implement these ideas that we've been discussing throughout the course. And so I'd like for us to think about this. Always we begin from a student perspective. What are the EdTech barriers from a student perspective? And I really hope you enjoy this video. It is a short video of the perception of EdTech and using technology from a student perspective. And so I want you to watch that first. And then step 2 is going to be reading some articles on what barriers exist. And so I've tried to select articles that are from different facets of education. Some of them are K-12, some is looking at higher ed, some of it's looking at looking at this from a leadership perspective with what is facing our teachers and educators who are wanting to integrate technology. So what are these barriers? And I want you to think about the barriers not only from a educator perspective, but also from a student perspective, from a parent perspective, from an employer perspective, from an employee perspective. Because some of you are working in support staff, so how could these barriers be addressed? What advice would you give to leaders now on how we can address these issues? And so you're going to, after reading the articles and looking at the video, you're going to write a blog and publish that blog and giving advice to leaders on how to best address these barriers. We've learned a lot through COVID on what we have not done well. And there's been a lot of money poured into our area. I have been an education technology leader since 1999. I know that sounds ancient, but yeah, I've been in this field for that long. And I can say in Texas, we have poured a lot of funding into education technology. And for some reason, we still have huge digital divides that I think not only deal with equity but also accessibility still. And so this became very apparent during COVID. So what can we do to begin to address that? And so I want you to write a blog and share your perspectives on that. And then we have our last journal reflection. And really this journal reflection, I want you to think about the COVID piece. We've talked a lot this semester about all of the different needs. You now know what the definition of education technology, how that's constantly evolving. I even saw something that just recently came out last week about that definition. But also digital literacy, technology integration. There's a lot of, we've learned about learning theory and how we have a theory of how we learn, and we take that theory and we implement a model to help us begin to design better approaches to learning, because it is a science. I have a degree in cognitive science from University of North Texas, and really what I studied was how the brain is changing technology, and I do believe it is. And so that's what I believe. But what do you believe, and what do you think about COVID, and how has this change the narrative, maybe have brought about more awareness? What are your thoughts on this? And think about this from different perspectives. So yes, this isn't the same thing as the blog assignment, but I really want you in the journal to reflect on how that applies to your life, because that's really a more private place to do that, and would not be appropriate for a blog posting. But why do you feel our education institutions were not prepared to meet the needs during the pandemic? And so this is something I'd like for you to reflect on. Now, we are going to, the last assignment for this course is a capstone project. And let me explain what a capstone project is. A capstone project, we have identified assignments in all of the education instructional technology courses that we feel best demonstrates your skills as it relates to the course objectives for each course. And the reason why we have identified those is you would, during your comprehensive ePortfolio presentation, you will be reflecting on using those artifacts to demonstrate your skills that you've mastered throughout the program. And so one of the first artifacts that we'd like for our students to create and to use is the personal learning, the personal philosophy of learning. And so I want you to take some time this week to think about all of the materials from the last month, the last 5 weeks. And this isn't due until next week, so you have some time, but you're going to start by writing a narrative. How would you define your personal learning theory? What are your beliefs on how we learn? How do we learn? And I want you to be thinking about that, and I want you to select a learning theory. I think I shared with the community that I am a constructionist. If you look at my work, I'm a big advocate for makerspace, and have been for over a decade now. So I believe that we learn through the art of making an artifact, and that's why I'm really into innovation and creativity, and having students create things. You're creating something in this course. You're going to create a personal learning theory, and you're actually going to create something with technology. But before you, and you may not be a constructionist, you might be a connectivist, you might be a behaviorist, you might be a constructivist. Our current traditional method is a constructivist approach. So go back and look at that. And then I want you to find 4 articles, and I want you to read these 4 articles this week. And you're going to create an annotated bibliography. You might be like, what is an annotated bibliography? An annotated bibliography is a short 200-word only, kind of like an abstract, but it's a summary of the article. And the reason why I want you to make a summary is because in a year, if you're in the EIT program, you might need this article to refer to in your work, in your last course, in the actual capstone course. So this summary will help you remember the article, and I want you to critique each citation, and you basically put the way it works is and I've given you kind of an example here. You're doing an annotated bibliography. So annotated bibliography is you're going to put the citation. So here's an example. Here's the citation. This is an APA. So you put the APA, and then you're going to put the summary. You just need 4 of these. Okay, we're not doing MLA, APA. So the actual article and then the summary. You need 4 of these. And so in my example, for me, I would list, I would find 4 articles about constructionism and technology. And using technology. You might find, let's say you're connectivist and you believe in connectivism, then you're going to find 4 articles about connectivism, and you're going to create a summary. And I want you to be thinking about, and the reason why we do that is we ground our theory of learning based on what we know, okay, and we do that by reading literature. And your personal learning theory will evolve. I had to do a similar project when I was in graduate school, and that's, honestly, it helped me shape my beliefs in how we learn. And that's what I'm wanting you to do. I want this course outcome where you have a belief. You've developed a belief statement on how we learn using technology. And you can do that from, we're not going to always agree. And so at the end of this, then you're going to create a belief statement. It's a short statement. You're going to have a one-page narrative, and it basically is, I believe. I believe. It's an I believe statement. What do you believe about how we learn? This is just a one-page narrative, couple paragraphs at the most. It's your personal learning theory statement. And then I want you to create a video saying your personal beliefs. And so here I am back in, 2012, 10 years ago, I did the same assignment, and I believed that, I talked about constructivism. So you can watch my video, but basically that's the final takeaway. Is I don't want you to write this narrative until next week, and I don't want you to create the video until next week, because I want you to take the time this week to locate the 4 articles before you do so. All right, let me know if you have any questions. I hope you have a great week, and I will be in contact. Have a great day.